Welcome into a For What It's Worth episode 30. It is your host, Calvin Silvers, and I am finally joined by Tyrone Thornton. Tyrone, it's been what seems like forever. It's been a few episodes. It's been a few episodes.
Oh my goodness, feels like literally it's been months. It's been months.
It's been months.
It's been one thing or another. One time I thought my camera on my laptop didn't work. Turns out I didn't do anything. It started working. Other time I didn't have my charger. Other time my laptop was dead and I left my charger at work. I can't. I got to get my laptop together.
Yeah, no, I get it. Laptop and life together. That's kind of where I'm at in my life journey as well. But hey, I'm glad to have you back because we got some NBA to be discussed. And of course, me and you have been talking off to the side in group chats and whatnot about what's been going on. But it's good to finally share our opinions here with the rest of the group. Now, before we go on and kind of talk about what we saw in the first round of the NBA playoffs, go ahead and follow us on our socials. We're on Twitter/X, whatever do you still call it Twitter at all, Ty?
For sure. That's the only thing I call it.
I was going to say, I still don't know if I fully bought into calling it X yet, but Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and Instagram. You can follow us at FWIW Sports Pod. We're also on TikTok at FWIW Sports. And then however you're listening to this, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify, go ahead, subscribe, leave a like, 5 stars, comments, whatever you guys can do, and also send the link. But as mentioned, we are going to talk some NBA playoffs, and we got Lakers on the menu. We got Warriors on the menu. We got Minnesota on we got a lot to discuss. So let's just jump right into it, Ty, if you're ready.
Let's go. Let's deep dive.
All right, well, let's start off with the Warriors and them overcoming Houston. And I just want to start off, and I got a couple things I want to talk about. So I'll just start with one, let you discuss, we'll debate, then I'll go to the next, we'll debate, stuff like that. So first thing I want to talk about with this Warriors game against Houston, or just series overall, is that when it needed to someone step up, your star player in Steph Curry stepped up, especially in that game 7 in that fourth quarter. Now, he started off slow in the first half, erupted there, 14 of his 22 points in the fourth quarter, 19 total points in the second half. I mean, he has historic excellence in game 7s. He averages 32.6 points per game in those game 7s, and that's the fourth highest in NBA history. Tyrone, maybe we don't want to break into this quite yet, but you were telling me that you would trust Ant more maybe than Steph right now. But after this, I still think I got to put Steph over Ant just right now. But I just want to hear what you thought about Steph's performance, whether it was in this game 7 or all series.
I think overall Steph had a pretty good series, solid series overall. So what you expect from Steph Curry. But I do think he got saved. He better be blessing and thanking and sending Buddy Hield nice packages, because Buddy Hield went out for 20-plus points in the first half. Steph Curry, I think he ended the first half with 3 points. I understand you got the dub and you played well when it mattered, but that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Like, I am not going for 3 points, Steph Curry. That is crazy. And I think that if they weren't playing a Rockets team that had zero offense, that would be a huge issue. But they haven't been up to doubt by playing a team that can't score the basketball. So his 3-point half will be forgot about, which is okay. I'm not going to hold it against him because he did end up winning a game 7 on the road.
Yep, I'm going to say, I knew that first half would be brought up, and yes, he only did end that first half with 3 points, but it, like I said, it really matters what he did when it was crunch time, and just throughout the series, I thought he played pretty well. And you talk about the ability to not score at times for Houston, and just with Jalen Green, I wish he was more consistent, because I think he could be a good player. He just doesn't have that consistency yet either.
No, he's just a player that he's just athletic. He's just a really athletic player that can run fast, jump fast, and make contested jump shots, but he's not necessarily a scorer. And if he is a scorer, he's an inconsistent scorer. And he's definitely not a number 1 option on a good playoff team. Probably not at this point. I wouldn't say he's a number 2 option. The performance that he's given has dropped him down to a level of, I'm seeing him as an NBA player as that third option, the Austin Reeves level of role. That's the option of scorer that he is, or maybe somebody that you go to when you have some reserves in. He should not be your primary option if you're a serious basketball team moving forward in 2025. And that's a message to the Houston Rockets as well.
Yeah, I think there's ability to ship him off whenever available. And I think Houston would benefit from that. I think they could bring in some more pieces. I think they need another all-star to really complement that young core. So not a bad season. Obviously get that second seed going against a pedigree team like the Golden State Warriors. But I think if they could find another big piece or bring in an all-star or caliber player, I think that only helps them or, elevates them a little more.
Oh, 1000%. You can only have so many young pieces and develop so many players at a time. And Jalen Green's at the point where I think this is going to be his 4th year in the NBA. They have another young guard and a man Thompson. Like that is your replacement right there. And that
they
is
really
enough
love
justification.
Thompson too.
Yeah. And that's enough justification for me to move off of you. There's tons of scorers in the NBA, especially when you have the assets that the Rockets do. You can definitely go find somebody out there to consistently put the ball in the basket, especially when you have the other pieces around them already with Şengün, Amin, older pieces like Adams, Fred VanVleet. All you have to do is just find somebody to put the ball in the basket, give you a consistent 23 points in the playoffs, and they're a solid team.
And you have a good coach too.
And you have a good coach. Yeah, he made a great coach.
Obviously, a lot to work with there. Now, let's talk about someone that was consistent again for the Warriors, and that was Jimmy Butler. He's not disrupting the flow. I mean, that was a worry to some that when he got there, maybe he wouldn't fit right or it would take a while. There was skeptics out there. I'm not saying you were or anything. I'm just saying there was skeptics out there. I wasn't one of them. I think you could probably plug Jimmy into any offense or any team and he'd be fine, but he scored 20 plus points in 4 of the 6 games that he played in. Game 1, 25, Game 4, 27, Game 6, 27, and Game 7, 20. And also, near triple doubles. I'm not going to go through all the stats, but 7 rebounds, 9 rebounds, 8 rebounds in there, a couple of 7 assists, 8 assists, 6 assists. Game 4, he had the clutch free throws. So just an all-around impact too, Tyrone. It's not just offense. I know I just went through what he was doing there, on the boards and points-wise, but, I mean, elite defense. He's smart. He makes the right plays. He's rebounding, and he wasn't even fully healthy. And so Jimmy Butler, again, is showing, and once again, maybe not to the extent of what we've seen, but also he's a little hurt, but he's showing that he's playoff Jimmy once again.
I agree to a certain point. He's proven that he is still capable of playing at a pretty high level in the playoffs. It's Jimmy Butler. He's not washed. He's able to play. But I do think the Warriors have some pretty big concerns. I really think that playing the Rockets, a really young team that has never had that type of success, really hid a lot of their flaws. I think that having Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler on the court at the same time, while they're also simultaneously your second and third best players, creates a pretty funky offense because those are 2 players that the other team's coach is going to say, you don't have to guard them from 3. You don't have to. If Jimmy Butler makes 5 threes or Draymond makes 5 threes, oh well, that's fine. We will just lose. And I think that eventually that's just going to be their downfall. Their offense is going to come down to Steph Curry having a masterclass game and Jimmy Butler somehow having a masterclass game, or they lose. Yeah. Or I guess the third option is Buddy Hield scoring 20 points in the first half again. But I would like to think that that's not happening anymore.
He's not doing that a lot.
If he does that anymore, they're just winning the championship. They have Klay Thompson on their team if Buddy Hield can repeat that performance.
I was going to say, I'm with you there. I don't think Buddy Hield's performing quite at that level, but the fact he did it in an elimination game is really impressive. I have that there, so I'll save it for a little later if we want to talk more about it. But yeah, the fact that he did that in an elimination game is incredible, but I do not see him doing it again. But like I said, Butler not disrupting the flow, 12-2 since he got there, 119 playoff games now, has more wins than losses in Game 7. It's just a great compliment with Curry and Draymond, as you were talking about. So, but I do agree that moving forward, you're going to have someone like Jimmy and Steph both score. Well, Steph probably needs to go 25 plus, and Jimmy needs to keep putting in the 20 plus. And then, I think Draymond, and this is kind of my transition here into my next topic here, but it is about Draymond. But if Draymond shows up hitting the threes like he was in some of these games early, playing great defense, feeding off the emotion, I think the Warriors are going to be really hard to stop. And then just Draymond's defense against Şengün in Game 7, just huge. Held him for 9 for 23 shooting. Obviously, he was visibly frustrated in the 4th going against Green. And Green finished 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, plus 18. in the plus minus. So, and he had the 8 points right off the bat. So Draymond, this is why you keep someone like that all these years. Maybe not the most offensive of a threat, but what he can provide for you for the spark, the defense, and when he does hit his shots, that only makes you that more dangerous, and in my eyes, gives you an edge to win a series.
Oh, for sure. The Draymond Green 3 is the second deadliest 3 in all of sports.
Especially
The
when he hits
number
2 of them.
1 3, the number 1 most deadly 3-point shot is the Russell Westbrook pull-up 3. If Russell Westbrook is hitting pull-up 3s, it's game.
Over.
You're not winning. Don't let Russell Westbrook get 2 threes. That's game.
I agree with you. Don't let Draymond. Those are 2 players. Do not let them get the crowd into it to feed off that, because they will start going nuts.
Facts.
They will start going nuts. But yeah, you can continue on. I kind of interrupted you there. I didn't know if you had any more to say
you're all
about
good,
Draymond.
man. But yeah, the Warriors. I was telling some of my students this and some of my friends. I got the Wolves in like 4 or 5. I really do. I don't think it's gonna be like that. I really think the Warriors, their offense is offensively, I don't think they have it. Defensively, they're fine. Jimmy Butler, Steph, those young guys, Kuminga, Paz, that can guard. Even Steph Curry. He's not the best defender, but it's Steph Curry. He is a liable defender. He's not necessarily as big as a negative defender as people like to say. But I think offensively, once they play a more veteran team, older team, it's not going to be the same. It's just not going to be. I truly believe that, and I think that the Timberwolves have the option to do that as well. And I think defensively for the Warriors, hopefully Draymond Green, I would love to see the Draymond Green Rudy Gobert matchup again. I would love to see how the Warriors match up against the Timberwolves. I would love to see that. I would love it, because I don't think they're going to be able to take advantage of the Rockets how they did the T-Wolves.
I agree with you, and we're going to jump into that series here in a second. Before we do, just wanted to mention too that why we said, Buddy Hield's probably not going to do something like that again. Let's remember in Game 3 at 18 points, I take 18 points from Buddy Hield when I can. So
that's a great game for him. Yeah, for sure.
If he's able to at least do something like that, that makes you much more dangerous. 200 plus 3-point this season too, 7 straight. So he can't catch fire from beyond on the arc. So Warriors, we can move on now. But yeah, just the way their defense approach in Game 7 was great. The supporting cast stepped up. Brandon Podziemski, I kind of butcher that name sometimes. I'm pretty sure I said it right there. But Podziemski, Game 4, he led with 21 points. Kevin Looney had to step in. Gary Payton before his illness. So they stepped up. I just, like you said, let's just go ahead and now talk about this upcoming series. My biggest thing for the Timberwolves is going to be, can Julius Randle continue this good play? And then can the Warriors, because they play small ball too, will they be able to go against the size of like a Rudy Gobert and stuff like that? So if Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert can continue this, I think the Warriors can get it in 6 or 7. But
I don't know, man. I don't know.
If we see a Julius Randle that we're accustomed to when the playoffs start getting more serious, then I see the Warriors taking this in.
Look, that's 7. Okay. That's okay. Hey, Julius Randle, right here, bud. Come take this seat on the bench. Naz Reid, get in the game. Let's go, Naz Reid.
That's fair.
It's your turn. Let's go.
The depth is crazy that they have.
Yeah, like, come on, man. It's okay. So one of those 3 are going to play good.
Okay, so that's fair. We'll talk some more about what they could bring, but also let's go back to the Warriors here. And Steph, when he played Minnesota, averaged 30.7 points, 8.7 assists, shot 48.7% from 3 in the 3 wins that the Warriors had against them, 23 points in 25 fourth quarter minutes. He's catching fire this season against Minnesota. And he's coming off a great Game 7, a pretty decent series overall. It's not like he's coming off a series where he didn't shoot very good, or coming off a super bad Game 7. No, I feel like he played pretty well, and I feel like he's pretty confident. And that confidence that he showed in the regular season, I think he carried in 7 games. But this Timberwolves team is a lot hotter than they were at some of these points when they played in the regular season.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
What's a better duo right now, today? Steph and Jimmy Butler, or LeBron and Luka right now, today?
I got to go with Steph and Jimmy, because they're still playing.
Okay.
And B, I think neither of them are a super big liability as to where Luka is a super big liability on defense.
Okay.
Why
Respect.
were you gonna say?
I was gonna say LeBron and Luka are
Okay,
equivalent, if not better, than Jimmy and Steph. And then I was gonna go ahead and say that if you take
I can
those
give you
two
the
players,
equivalent. I don't think I'd say better though.
give
If
those two
anything,
players off their team, the rest of the roster about the same. I'm gonna be honest, about the same.
if you take repeat that
If
again
you
for me.
take their two best players off their team,
Who the
Steph
Timberwolves
and both of them,
Warriors?
Steph and
Okay,
Jimmy,
okay. If you take them
Luka
off,
and LeBron, the
okay.
rest of the supporting cast, I don't think they're that far apart. I don't think they're that far apart. I really don't. You got Draymond, you got Kaminga, you got Moody.
And then you
Those
got
are pretty solid players. To me, that's the same thing as Austin Reeves.
when he shows
You
up,
got Vanderbilt. You
Hachimura.
got Rui Hachimura. That's the same level of player. They're just pretty solid role players that can maybe have a good game 1 out of 18 games. I think the Timberwolves are going to be prepared to do the same exact thing that they did to the Lakers with two superstars that have a mid supporting cast and just run right through them. Did the same thing last year with the Suns.
That's all.
KD, D Book
Yeah.
ran right through them with this mid supporting cast. They're going to run right through that. Run right through it.
Yeah, I don't like the small ball approach because it didn't work for the Lakers. It's probably not going to work as well for the Warriors, but the Warriors have that ability to shoot beyond the arc and catch fire there, which is going to keep them in games. But I will agree with you in the fact too that the Timberwolves have Jaden McDaniels, who, I mean, yes, Luka went off per se in the sense that he averaged, I think 30. I have it written somewhere down here that we'll probably get to, but McDaniels still had pretty solid
Yeah, no.
defense for the most part on him. And
Luka had a week 30.
yeah, and that's funny to say, but it is true, that we're saying, oh, Luke having 30 is kind of a, letdown per se with air quotations. Anyways, McDaniels played great defense for the most part, and that could challenge Curry, but I mean, his off-ball movement, Butler setting screens, or Draymond, or whoever it may be, it's going to be crucial. It's really going to come down to that, I think. And then you got to defend Edwards too. And
I
if
agree.
he's not making shots, he's doing everything else right.
I do
But
agree. I think that when it comes down to small ball, what Steve Kerr and what other coaches are really saying, we're gonna play these small guys to make a bunch of threes, and we're just banking on the fact that Rudy Gobert is not gonna hurt us. He might get 10, 12, but if Rudy Gobert can do what he did Game 7 and just score layups on small defenders, then small ball doesn't work because they're just gonna get a free layup almost every time. Just give it to Rudy Gobert, and he can score a layup. If Rudy Gobert is not performing, if he can't give you two 20-point games, or maybe he gets 18 this game, or maybe if he can't score those points, Warriors might have a chance. But I think he might do it. I think he honestly might be able to do it. It's small ball. Just get in there and score a layup, man. The kid that's guarding you, or the grown man, I'm used to saying kid. The grown man that's guarding you is only like 6'8". You're 7 foot. Go dunk on him, man.
Yep. Yeah, if I'm the Timberwolves, I'm really trying to rely, but like you said too, yeah, you got Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Alexander Walker that can come off the
It's a
bench.
deep team.
It's a deep team, and Edwards, his ability, he's already eliminated Durant before, Jokic, Doncic now, James. It's gonna be a great series. I just you know what, we got a little more to talk to before we give any predictions here. I will say though, Minnesota did outscore the Lakers by 40 points per 100 possessions in the fourth quarter. However, the last fourth quarter leads and 2 of the 3 regular season losses was to the Warriors for Minnesota. So they were excelling in the fourth against the Lakers, but can they do that against the Warriors, where the Warriors had the edge over them in fourth quarter crunch time in the regular season? Now, let me ask you this, Ty. Do you, and we talked about the star power and who's out there, and well, okay, 2 questions. First question for you. Who do you trust more, Chris Finch or Steve Kerr?
Oh, Steve Kerr for sure.
Okay. Now, and I kind of revealed this earlier, but maybe you changed your mind, but who has the better player? The Warriors or the Timberwolves? Who's better, Ant right now or Steph right now?
Give me Anthony Edwards. I'm 100% confident in that, for sure.
All right. So Warriors have the better coach, but in your eyes, Timberwolves have the better player. So is the better player going to be more than a better coach when said other player for the Warriors and Steph is probably right there with Ant? It's not there's a huge gap. And I think there might be more of a huge gap in the coaching department.
I think the supporting cast of the Timberwolves are so much better than the supporting cast of the Warriors that the coaching element's really not going to matter. All you think you have to do is put them in the right spots. Where Steve Kerr, he's coaching around flaws of his team that aren't you can't change them. There is no real adjustment. The Warriors don't have a big man. There's no adjustment for that. That's just like, well, we have no big man. Even if the Warriors are successful at small ball, the only thing that the Timberwolves have to do is sub out Rudy Gobert. All right, bet. Now we're playing small ball too. That's it. The Warriors literally cannot. They can only play small ball. That is their only card. That is it. That's it.
And I
That's the
think
only thing you can do.
And I think to the fact that I brought up earlier is like, okay, are we going to see the Julius Randle that we all come to know and how he kind of disappears in the playoffs? And can Rudy Gobert keep, a hyper efficiency like he was? And the fact that you mentioned plenty of times is, well, if one of them's bad, you have a good backup to bring it off the bench, or you just have a good bench to go to. And so in that case, I think if the fact that we saw the small ball with the Lakers not work, and you're kind of saying that they're equal per se in the rest of the lineup when you take out the star players. I think if Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert can continue this, Timberwolves will win in 6 or 7. But if one of those guys, as in Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert, do not play well and the bench isn't ready to step up, give me Warriors in 7. What's your take?
I would say if the Warriors do win, it's definitely in 7.
Okay.
I'm going Timberwolves in 5.
Wow.
Timberwolves in 5 games.
Wow.
I'm really confident.
I don't know. You're gonna count playoff Jimmy out like that?
Yeah, hell yeah. There's Anthony Edwards.
But I mean, Jimmy Butler has a history of guarding
That's fine.
some of the best guards when it comes to this point.
I'll take that. That's okay.
It's going to be a fun matchup. I do like Anthony Edwards' ability to play at all levels. Offensively, defensively. If he needs to be the scorer, he can. If he needs to be the passer, he can. It is tough to stop.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think if he does win, that's gonna be so big for him. That'll be so. I'm ready to see Anthony Edwards just win really big, huge games.
Yep, I mean, and like I said, Anthony Edwards has already taken down some big time names. Now, of course, later in their careers, but still, except for Luka, but still.
I got people on my phone texting me like, "Why isn't if Curry wins this? I think he's better than LeBron." All right, bro, come on, let's not even come on. Now you better make me start hating. Now I have to start hating on the Warriors.
I'm not quite there yet, but the fact that now, what if LeBron has another? Let's say he comes back, runs it back with Luka. Luka stays, this and that. They get a big. Let's just say, just for fun, they get a big that they need. Let's say they do all that, but LeBron again loses first round, and let's say Steph goes on and wins it this year. You're not saying that because what LeBron is 2 and I have the stat right here. He's like 2 and something in the last 2 and 12 the last 3 series overall. LeBron is 2 and 12. Wow. So kind of taking a hit on his legacy overall. And two, this all started when he moved from the East, Tyrone. When he moved away from the easy East and went to the West.
Old. That's because you know why the good players are in the West? Because LeBron was in the East. Why would you play in the East if LeBron's over there? Well, I'm about to just stay in the West. And I know even if he did win that, no, I wouldn't consider it. I wouldn't consider. This is a whole different, separate topic. Because I've been arguing about this with somebody for days. Why is Steph Curry considered one of the GOATs? He doesn't play defense. He doesn't guard. All these other dudes are locking up. They're defensive player of the year candidates consistently. He is not doing that. That's besides the point. I don't want to get into this conversation because I've had it so much. If he did win a ring, good for Steph Curry. Amazing. You could say he's top 5. But better than LeBron. So he's the GOAT then. If Steph Curry wins the ring, he's the GOAT.
I don't think he's better than LeBron overall. But if LeBron has if LeBron gets bounced again next year, first round, he'll probably retire. But B, I think that does not to me per se as much, but definitely with the old heads, that's going to take a huge hit on his legacy, and that's only going to fuel the Jordan fire even more. Maybe not even
true.
Steph.
I remember when Steph Curry was in the play-in a couple years ago. In the play-in. No, I agree. Come on, people be forgetting. People forget, man.
Let's talk some Lakers since we're talking on LeBron and just the downfall. Because while we just praised Ant and that whole Timberwolves team, I mean, there was some blame to be put around the Lakers organization. I think first I want to start with JJ Redick, and I might be being too hard on the guy. And obviously, the guy knows 1 million times more than I do when it comes to basketball. He has to make the decisions in the moment. His assistants are 1,000 times smarter than me when it comes to basketball, this and that. Okay, I'm not trying to say the guy doesn't know anything or is dumb per se, but I think he had some quote unquote rookie coaching mistakes in this one. And we'll start with game 4 when he played all starters: Luka, LeBron, Austin, Hachimura, Finney Smith. 24 minutes, the whole second half. First time in NBA playoff history that any coach has done that, left the starters in for the whole entire second half. Now, they were up by 10 entering the fourth, so you could argue it was working. But then what happened in the fourth when, the fatigue caught up with them? Luka shot 1 for 6. Reeves was 2 for 7 in the clutch. LeBron disappeared a lot in the fourth. I mean, fatigue was evident. I don't know what you thought about that. I mean, I get he doesn't trust his bench, but I guess you almost win that game. I don't know what are your thoughts on that, Tyrone? I get you almost won the game, but not one other person could have came in for just to give one of them, LeBron or Luka or Austin or anyone, just a 2-minute break.
Nah, you can't do that. That's just, you can't do that. I get where he's coming from, but like you can't do that, especially considering who your players are. You have two players that are your best two players are highly prone to get tired. It's LeBron. He's 40. Like,
yep,
he's just old.
No fault to his own. Yep.
Yeah, he's just old. Come on now. And Luka, who is obviously not in great shape. So your two best players are playing extended minutes. And at this point of LeBron's career, I mean, he can give effort on defense, but he's definitely not a lockdown defender. And Luka sucks at defense when he has energy. Like literally, like he sucks when he's playing good defense, like when he's has good energy. Like, so there's no way that could have been a recipe for success as well. Especially those other it's a rotation, man. Trust your rotation. It seems to me that he got scared. That's usually what happens, in my opinion, when coaches stop subbing. They don't trust the rotation. They don't trust no players on their bench. I'd rather have these tired guys out here than play you because you suck. Basically told all the players on the bench, y'all suck.
Yep. And no, literally, he did. It was a big slap. And that's why if I'm on that bench, I'm kind of wondering why do I want to stay here when I might be asking for a trade.
Coach, they're tired.
For real. And that's what I'm saying. 2 minutes. You could have bring in someone for 2 minutes. Now let's go to game 5. You have and JJ Redick did start subbing people. What does he do? Maxi Kleber comes in, who hasn't played since January. And I get it. Jackson Hayes might not be the best player that you have. It's probably not even, that great of a big man in the league overall. But you're going to bring in Maxi Kleber over him when Rudy Gobert is going off? You're not going to try what's going to hurt in throwing Hayes out there? Maybe
he just needs to run around and get rebounds. He doesn't even need to shoot a shot. Just run there, get some rebounds, catch a oop. That's it. Yeah. That's all you need to do.
I mean, you're seeing Gobert go off. And you see teams, go from zone to man to zone, that, just to try to throw off teams. Why wouldn't you just try a new body just to throw off Gobert? And if it doesn't work, if Gobert keeps going off, then pull Hayes out.
Worst thing that happens is you put him in there and he fouls Rudy Gobert.
That's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't you try? But you go with the man that hasn't played since January?
It's that one meme. He was like me? Yes, you.
Yes, you. If I was Jackson Hayes, I might pull an AB and throw off my jersey and just walk out, dude. Ridiculous.
That is pretty crazy.
That's mistakes.
I want to know what Steve Kerr thought when he heard that he was the only coach to ever do that in NBA history. So wow, dang, I sold.
JJ Redick.
Yeah. I wonder what. Bron can't. I'm not gonna lie. Bron can't take himself out the game. Bron, you got to play the whole game, man.
I mean.
He
physically cannot say that. No,
he cannot say that. He can want to come out, but if there was a report that came out that LeBron James subbed himself out of a playoff game, man.
Oh yeah. Oh, it'd be, man. Especially those Jordan lovers would be all over that. But yeah, JJ Redick definitely not off the leash. Like I said, game 1, his organizational issues. The team wasn't passing the ball well. They got blown out in game 1. Game 5, like we were been talking about, but still went with that small ball lineup. Didn't work. So, and then we already talked about Luka, his defensive struggles, his conditioning concerns. It's finally, reared its ugly face. I get it. Stomach bug, one of those games, and then the back injury, the other. But I obviously not the stomach bug, but the back issue. If you're not conditioning right or just not in good enough shape, that's going to take a toll on you. They were blowing by him. Has no
Yeah,
lateral
free eats.
quickness.
Let's just score on
Yep,
Luka.
yep.
Score on him.
Layups, kickouts, whatever it was. I mean, McDaniels had 30 points in game 3. I mean, Luka couldn't stop him. 56 paint points. I can go on. It's no surprise. And this is what Nico Harrison was trying to warn us about. And I still think they're stupid for doing
Those
the trade.
Nico Harrison memes are hilarious.
But he's like looking off to the side and stuff. No, that stuff is hilarious. You know for a fact he might have thrown himself a celebration when they got bounced first round.
Yes.
I'm not even kidding you. But yeah, I think we've talked a lot about everything. I'm just kind of go over everything I wrote down just to make sure we touched on it. But I mean, we talked about Luka, we talked about Austin Reeves and his disappearance. I mean, dreadful. There's one game he had 12, game 5, 12
He's
points.
playing like an undrafted free agent. I mean,
that would be some guy. If I'm the Lakers, I would look to move if I could.
I'd give him a chance. I'd say the Lakers have to do some things right now. I'd say actually based on how since the trade started, I'd rate the season a C plus. They did exactly probably what they were supposed to do. There's a little bit of overhyping once they started to win some games, but realistically, you trade for a player that good in the middle of the season, the odds of you winning a championship are probably 0. That's never happened. Mid-season trade and you go win it. At this point, they just got to, like you said, reevaluate every single player on the team and make this team for Luka and not LeBron. I probably would stop listening to LeBron about what he says on things. And in a very respectful way, LeBron, this ain't about you right now. We have something else to do.
And he knows that. He came out with a statement because they were asking how heavily he's recruiting Luka to stay, and he said, he's just got to do what's best for him. I'm 40. He's 26, so he's got to do what's best for him because there's not much of a future with me left. Yeah, we can move on, but yeah, just a couple last things. Fourth quarter collapses from the Lakers was terrible. Scored 16 points in Game 5's fourth quarter, going 4 of 12 as a team. Luka, James, and Reeves combined 1 for 8 in the first quarter of Game 5. 19 turnovers in Game 3 led to 28 Wolves points. That was really bad. And yeah, 8 players averaging double figures for Minnesota. All right, let's go to something I have been waiting to talk about because I tried warning you, Tyrone. I tried warning you. Now, I will admit I got a little nervous Game 6 after James Harden went off. But I tried telling you he was not going to show up for a Game 7. I tried warning you.
You did.
And we saw what happened. Meager 7 points on 2 for 8 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3 in 35 minutes. He had a minus 29 plus minus, among the worst. Didn't score in the second half. That's bad. He has now shot under 30% in 4 consecutive Game 7s, tying an NBA postseason record.
Man. He just sold. At this point, he just sold. And that's just what he does. Man, I can't really defend him. I have no defense for him. I have no defense. And
not only that, but you got to think too, he's done this now and like losing Game 7 with 4 different teams.
And the thing is too, it's just like it's just a cycle. He's gonna, because right now he has the wash, he's choking allegations. Then at some point of next year, he's gonna be hooping. He's going to be hooping.
Yeah, that's how he stays. That's how he stays relevant in these trades. That's how he plays great regular season.
It's a great regular season player. Overall, for the Clippers, though, they are just in a position as a team where A, they don't have any picks, so it's not like they have a future. B, not that Kawhi Leonard is an untradeable player, but I don't think that there's a market for Kawhi Leonard. C, there's not a market for James Harden either. So they're kind of just stuck with this. They're stuck with their team, really, per se. You can't really go rebuild. You don't have any picks. Kawhi Leonard is not worth anything. James Harden's not worth anything. I mean, you got Zubac, you got Terrence Mann, you got Chris Dunn. They don't really have any young assets on it. They have Norman Powell. They have this team of middle-aged players with no picks. So the crazy thing is, next year, they're probably just going to run it back, the same exact team, and hope for a different result.
And the fact, too, it's like it's Kawhi doesn't have a market because he's not good. It's just because you can't rely on him to be available.
Yeah, why would you trade for Kawhi?
Now, if he won this, he only played half the season this year, and then if he would have, and he played pretty well in all games this series. But if he would have won this series, maybe even won the second round, then there's a market. Okay, even though he didn't play half the series, look he can still lead, like we saw with the Raptors. He can still lead a team deep in the playoffs. That's an asset you want on your team. He didn't prove that this year. I really don't think there's, of course, you would be, if the price is right, you'd be stupid to pass up on him. But I would not spend more than what I don't have a number right now in my head, but
really considerable.
I would never pay more for him. There's some players I would try to pay more for, but not for him.
Not at this.
Not at this point.
Yeah. So they're in a weird spot. I'm assuming they're just going to run it back, which wouldn't be a bad idea, I guess. I mean, they would probably make the playoffs again. And
they got hot at the end.
If they run the same team back next year and everybody's healthy, they would be a competitive first-round game with a chance to get to the second round.
Yep. They almost did it this year.
They did. And Kawhi didn't even play for the first half of the season.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
They're only get a year older. Kawhi's going to get a year older. James Harden going to get a year older. All those guys are going to get a year older. And it's just, man, that loss is one of those just losing game sevens. That's just demoralizing.
It is. It's and when you do it 4 times or with 4 different teams and James Harden, yeah, it's tough. We don't have to talk too much more, but just another fact I want to throw at you: has scored fewer than 20 points in 12 of his 26 career elimination games. Steph Curry's only had 1, and Durant's only had 1. He averages 14.6 shots in elimination games. He only had 8 in Game 7 or whatever it was I said earlier, and then just the fact that was a liability too when it came defensively late in that series as well. So. Yeah, just lack of bench depth from the Clippers in that Game 7 too. Just 7 points, like you were saying, just when we were talking about the future. So,
man,
Westbrook outscored the bench in that Game 7. He's been a spark so far. I have my take on him, but so far he's been more of an asset than he has been a detrimental.
Oh, for sure, this has been his
so
best.
far.
This has been his best pitch top. The scores behind me. Last time I checked,
I was just gonna pull.
Denver was up by 6 or 7.
Well, you'd be surprised now because OKC is up 60-50 at half.
Okay, pretty competitive. Okay,
that is why we have not talked about Celtics or Denver in this episode, because those games are going on or just wrapped up as we were recording, so we didn't want to dive too much. But probably late news now if you're hearing this, but just for Ty's sake, Jokic has 16, Murray has 14, which you need Murray to play super well, right? In the series, especially.
You want to know a fun fact?
Fun
fact. Jamal Murray now has more points in the playoffs than Damian Lillard.
And he's been excelling at home this year. So if Murray can play well on the road in this series, I think Denver can get it done. But here's the thing, Ty. Listen to this. Christian Brown has 2 points. Porter Jr. has 2 points. Gordon has 7 points. Westbrook has 7. No one else is stepping up. And then, like I said, Jokic 16, Murray 14 at half. So those other guys got to step up.
Yes, really. What I realized, I think I sent you a link.
Wait, hold on. I might have lied to you. No, I didn't. All right, go on. Sorry.
I think I sent you that on Twitter. I was talking about the NBA is like a weak league sport. Like almost all these teams, they're going to have a superstar player, but it really just comes down to your supporting cast. What can your 3rd through 8th best player, can one of those guys or 2 of those guys consistently be good? And that's what sometimes worries me about the Nuggets, is that I like Christian Brown. He plays defense, he plays hard, but I don't know. Sometimes he scares me. I like Michael Porter Jr., but it's even he's cashing out or he's just invaluable. Then you got Russell Westbrook. You don't know what you're getting from him.
No.
And then Aaron Gordon, he's pretty consistent, but I feel like there's only so much he can give you. I feel like he just, he plays off Jokic. When he gives it to me, I dunk it and I play solid defense. Then Jamal Murray gets hurt every once in a while. But
and two, if you have to think about not only that, but how much more can this interim coach for Denver handle?
That's true.
As it just gets going more and more, it gets more stressful. It's really going to come down to the X's and O's at some points. You're going to have to draw up some good inbounds plays or, last second plays. It only gets harder from here. It
Yeah.
only gets harder from here. And the fact that you're coming off a 7-game series.
Against a younger team with more rest.
Now I
That's
will say,
deeper.
and I just said we're not really going to talk about this because it's going on right now as we're diving into it. But also too, I think what if Denver can sneak one in Oklahoma City, I'm about to say Gold State. If they can sneak one in Oklahoma City, I think they win the series because I think the Thunder are going to struggle playing at Denver.
I can see that.
I think that's going to, and to Will Williams be able to step up and be that good second piece for SGA, which right now I believe he had 7.5, so not quite, but they're leading.
SGA got 7.5.
Or no, Williams does.
Okay, I was about to say
no.
that MVP gonna be on fraud watch.
But I just looked up. I forgot. I'll look up for you right now what SGA had. He has 15, and he's the leader right now.
Okay, SGA. All right, you got to prove that MVP.
Jokic is the overall leader right now with 16 points, and then SGA with 15. So we could talk some more about this series later on, but I think that's all we have for this episode 30 of For What It's Worth. Ty, was there anything else you wanted to mention or bring up or anything like that?
Yes. Just quickly, Giannis, leave the Bucks as soon as possible, man. Loyalty,
has to.
Don't worry about that, man. Do not worry about that loyalty stuff. It'll have your career going out sad, real sad. I'm not saying be an a-hole about demanding a trade. There's a certain way to do it.
Yep.
Just don't demand one. Just lightly let them know that you would prefer to be traded, and then demand a trade in a month later if they still on the games. But just politely ask right now.
Yep. I think I'm with you. I think it's time, and especially since he won that ring, and I just don't really think there's much going for Milwaukee right now, just overall. So and that, well, yes, and the fact too, just as an organization that you've been, bounced out of the first round. So I was just looking, and yeah, so like 2025, you have a second round pick. 2026, you have a first and second. 2027, you have a first. 2028, a first. 2030, a first. So you don't really have
games hurt all next year.
Yep, and so there's not really much there for upcoming draft picks, like a lot, or even 2 for most years. Like you said, you have Doc Rivers coaching you, the choke artist when it comes to coaching. Dame's hurt. It's time to go. You won your championship with them. You don't owe them anymore.
Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, So I agree with you. Leave when you can. Well, that is episode 30 For What It's Worth. Once again, you can follow us on our socials. We are on X/Twitter, and we are on Instagram at FWIW Sports Pod. And we are also on TikTok at FWIW Sports. Seriously, pause the video right now and just go follow those socials. And then when you come back, hopefully you unpaused it and came back. You can also subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. The button should just be right down there. It's a mouse click away. Just please go ahead and do it, especially if you're already at this point. And review, leave comments, 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify. We appreciate that. Once again, I'm your host, Calvin Silvers, joined by the one and only Tyrone Thornton. And until next time, have a good one.